Wow, it's been a pretty busy weekend. Lots going on this week. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about FireEye and what's been going on there, and give you a little bit of update of what I've been working on and what's my plans over the Christmas holidays, and just really kind of catch you up on the things that I'm seeing I'm doing through cybersecurity and through the industry. So grab a coffee, grab a tea, and let's hack at it. I'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, Usado. Usado is a Canadian-based cybersecurity company that provides 24/7 cybersecurity support and compliance service that align their customers' tolerance for risk, their clients, suppliers, and government contractual mandates. Usado's teams focus on using insights to drive business decisions. There's no need to leave strategies to chance, when insights can be used to show what changes need to be made and how to make them. Usado offers multiple services to help companies simplify IT, centralize cybersecurity management, and meet compliance standards. Usado can customize their service to work with your existing IT network and programs. For more information, contact Usado at info@uzado.com or visit their website at www.uzado.com. Okay, wow. So how's everyone doing? I would love to hear how you're doing through the pandemic and everything that's going on. I know for the GTA, there's a lot happening here. I think on the 21st of December, we're going to have another announcement. So don't know if that's going to be, we're going to be opening up more or we're going to be locked down. So a lot of changes are happening in the GTA, and as I'm watching the news, it's kind of happening worldwide. So hopefully you, your family, everyone around you is safe and, healthy. And you guys are just kind of looking after each other and doing your best through the holidays to kind of take care of each other. I think it's really important right now. I know I've been changing my protocols and things that I've been doing just to kind of look after my health and increase my immune system, just to make sure, if I get exposed or, even come close to COVID, that, my immune system can fight it off pretty quickly. And that means just, proper eating, diet, sleeping, anything along that line. And it's important with us cybersecurity professionals. Right now, it's a busy time of the year. You got, Q4. There's been a lot happening in the industry, which we'll talk about today. And you can get burnout very quickly. I was talking to a few people last week, and you could hear like all the tension, the stress, and everything that's been going on. It's just a lot's been happening for any industry, all industries. The one I get exposed to the most is people that are in cybersecurity and IT. And then through that, I get exposed to different industries as well, from like retail. That's really taking a big hit right now, especially small to mid-size retailers, supply chains, healthcare in the sense of, or just cosmetics and care like that, where you're going like massage therapists, beauty salons, hair, salons, things like that are all been shut down here, at least in the GTA. So it's really kind of hitting them financially. So you're looking at your risk, right? Your risk tolerance, right? Being forced to shut down and not be able to make any revenue. I think it's a huge thing, right? So I think right now, the biggest challenge that we're finding right now is how to support each other. Just how to support each other going on through the pandemic. Just give me a second here. I just had a colleague just text me right now. Seems like one of my posts went out and might have said something like we're going love. Give me a second here. I'm just going to fix this. But anyways, as I'm going on, we got to look at, how to protect each other and just really kind of be safe. Give me a second here. Yeah. So I think it's really important right now. We kind of look at all the different things going on with the industry. So let's talk about last week. Last week, I don't know if you guys were able to make it out, but I had a meetup group with James Castell from Terra Nova Defense. It was really good in the sense of we had CEW there, and also we had the Toronto Police there, Kendrick from Toronto Police. I'm going to actually have him on my podcast. I'm going to work on that. And just talking about the things that's going on in the industry for protecting yourself, and the things that you need to look at for cybersecurity awareness, protection, risk tolerance, education, just everything along that line. I think it's really important that as much as we know on the baseline of cybersecurity, we always have to have reminders. We always have to keep, it front of mind, because we get busy. Things happen, right? Even the best of the best, have issues. And I'm going to talk about FireEye later. And I mean, they're top of the line cybersecurity company, and they got compromised, right? So even experts in the field, right, are doing their best and doing their due diligence to stay protected, to do what they have to do to protect themselves as well as their clients. And it still happens, right? It's not if, it's when. So with that mindset, you really want to make sure you're doing your best when it comes to cybersecurity, and you're implementing the right strategies, the right plans. You have a response plan. I know for us, we help clients with breach readiness as a service and breach readiness plans. But then with that is, detect, respond, and then remediate as quickly as possible, right? Before, it used to be, I think it was a couple of years ago, people used to talk about what we want to do is we want to prevent this, we want to prevent that. But now it's changed. The conversation's completely changed to, we're not going to prevent it. We're going to detect it as fast as we can. We're going to respond with our team, right, our incident response team, and then we're going to remediate it as quickly as possible. So the impact is lower, and it's they're trying to decrease the level of impact versus, different companies. And I'm going to use CRA. Actually, that's probably a good one. Right, the level of impact of that with amount of people that got affected, and then the ongoing scams that are coming from that. I actually just got one last week where someone was calling me and saying that, and they left a message. It's a recorded message now. What they're using is, "Hi, this is a detective from the CRA. You've got a warrant out for your arrest, and they're telling you that, if you don't call back, that they're going to seize your house, your property, all that, scary stuff." And to let you know, and anyone that's new to the industry or even new to the country, right, for Canada does not have a law enforcement agent for the Canadian Revenue Agency, right? The law enforcement agency is separate from that. So if they're saying there's a detective from the CRA calling you, hang up, don't answer it, delete the message, it's a scam, right? And I want to make sure you guys are aware of that, just because, again, it's just the reminders, because what I'm finding is people are getting busy. They're overwhelmed. They're stressed. They're going all through this, challenges right now. And what's happening is you get caught. You answer the phone. You're like, what can I do? How can I help you? And you're like, who is this? What is it? Okay. Yeah, here's my information. Then we start giving stuff unknowing that, hold on, this is a scam. And it's because we're so busy. It's not because they're not intelligent, they're not aware. It's just we're so busy and overwhelmed that we're answering these calls and going through that process. So I think it's really important right now for us to be mindful of that, right? And really kind of look at how can we protect ourselves and keep being reminded and keep having that conversation. I know one thing that we've been seeing an increase of is cybersecurity awareness training, especially and I've talked this again and again, and Kendrick was talking about this, and we have the recording actually on my YouTube channel. I'll leave the link below in the description. If you're watching on the YouTube, if you're watching us on Twitch, LinkedIn, you can actually go check that out, and you can actually see the YouTube video where the full meetup group and discussion, the presentations are all there. So you can actually go through it. But Kendrick was talking about education, awareness being there, and then looking at response. And they were talking about responding back to the Toronto police and being able to do that. So a lot of great things there just to keep educating yourself, keep aware, keep your ear to the ground, and making sure you're constantly aware of kind of the scams and the potential risks that are out there, especially when it comes over to the Christmas holidays. A lot of people now, since the pandemic and now, over the years, have been shopping more online. So make sure that you know where you're actually shopping. If you see a promo, a discount, anything along that line that, is coming through, go to the actual vendor themselves, go to the retailer themselves, go to their website, and then check out the promotion there. If you don't see it, call them directly. Say, hey, I saw this promotion. I don't see it on your website. Is this the promotion you sent out? Validate it. The only reason I'm saying that is because there's so many scams going on right now. I don't want to see you or your family member get compromised and lose out on, hundreds or even thousands of dollars. I think I was reading an article. Oh no, it was at family members on over the weekend, and I was reading. They had an article that it was actually someone that was writing about cybersecurity, and what they were doing was they were writing an article about it. And while they were writing the article, they actually got one of those scam emails they were talking about, and they were looking at it. They were going to click on it, and they just because they were so busy, they kind of went, "Hold on a second, what is this?" And fortunate, they caught themselves before they clicked on it. And here what it was, and let me kind of take a step back. It was actually an update. That's what it was. He was writing an article about updates and how to be careful about updates that come through and make sure you validate that it's a valid update. If it's from Adobe, and I think his was an Adobe Reader update. And it came up and it popped up and he just was going to click on it. And he stopped himself and said, "Hold on a second here." And he read it over. And in the actual content, it was misspelled. But if he would have caught that, it could have been malware or something along that line that was going to be installed. But he caught it in time that he said, "Hold on a second here. Let me read through this." And he read through it and he actually found out that it was actually some of the content was misspelled. And he realized that this wasn't from Adobe. It wasn't an Adobe update. And now don't get me wrong. Home users and people are always trained that if there's an update, you're supposed to click on it and stay up to date and stay up to date with your software, your operating system, and your patching. But always also make sure in your due diligence is you're confirming it's coming from that source, right? And if you're not sure, ask questions, wait. One thing I got caught up on, take your time with updates too. Make sure that you do a little bit of research. Yes, it's annoying, it's time consuming, but do a little bit of research and see how that patch, rolled out. There might be issues with that patch or update. I found that with OBS. I updated because I use Big Sur. I have a MacBook Pro. I run the OS Big Sur. And what happened was OBS updated. Or actually, how did it go? I updated Big Sur and OBS wasn't updated. So what happened was OBS wouldn't work and wouldn't launch. So I wasn't able to do my podcast and launch this, like my podcast or my live videos. So what happened was I was down for a week until I found out. I was speaking to support, and they actually went through the code and we removed certain areas. So then it would come up. Now I don't have functionality in certain areas, but now at least I can broadcast and go live. So that's kind of an update on just patch management, cybersecurity awareness, and training. Want to do a little housekeeping here. If you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn, or you're on where it's Twitch, go to the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. If you're watching this right now, give me a thumbs up. Just comment in the message box. Just want to know anyone that's live right now. Let me know how you're doing through the pandemic. Any questions that you have in regards to cybersecurity and what's going on. Love to get some engagement going, just because I think right now we need to continue these conversations and what's happening. Just a lot's happening in the industry, so we need to stay aware, and especially when it's coming to the end of year. People are getting more busier, and just things are starting to happen. Ransomware attacks, breaches, things along that line. So on a personal note, what am I working on? I stopped kind of talking about the things that I've been doing because I was just so busy with the cybersecurity of the CISSP and things that was going on in my job and everything along that line in sales. But I want to really kind of let you guys know what I'm working on, what am I doing, so you can kind of go along with this journey and see where you're at. So right now, I've got the CISSP study group on Tuesdays. If you guys are preparing for the CISSP, want to come out, want to learn more about the CISSP certification and just, study with us, or even just if there's a domain that you're working through or you haven't recapped in a while, refreshed, come out. We're going through the whole, each of the domains, each of the 8 domains, and we're preparing, Joel and myself, Joel Bork, are preparing to write the CISSP exam. So as we're going through this, we're going through, domain by domain, area by area, and we're going through it as students, just learning with the community and really kind of understanding it and seeing how it applies to real world as we're going through our day-to-day. Joe's a pen tester. I'm in cybersecurity sales. So we're having 2 different views on how this technology, how the process, how the strategies work, and then having the discussion with the community that people are coming out and they're sharing their insights and what they do. So we have people from all different industries in there. So come out and join. It's really awesome. But for me, personally, the reason why I'm doing the CISSP is I think it's so valuable to have this type of knowledge as you're going out, you're talking to cybersecurity professionals, cybersecurity experts, and you're having these conversations. Now, my conversations are more on the top down versus bottom up. And what I mean by top down is more business conversations driving the cybersecurity forecast, the plan, the roadmap, the technology for the company. And then the bottom up is the nuts and bolts of the technology, the real, finite information when you're looking at scoping of specification, scoping, integration, like all those great conversations. And those ones I bring in subject matter experts and professionals that we work with to talk on the real deep technical knowledge. So having that, relationship to be able to do that. Now, some areas on my side, because I've done technical support for the Ontario government and other companies, I have some knowledge, not as much as a lot of these experts have. I mean, not even close, but at least I can understand and have a conversation. And when, different types of conversations come up, I'm able to at least have the conversation and understand where they're going within the direction. I think the biggest thing for myself is being able to talk on both levels. Now, if you're getting into the cybersecurity field, depending on where you are in the industry, it's good to have both sides, right? To be able to talk to high-level executives, to be able to have the conversation, to have that dialogue, to understand what they're going through, to have empathy as well as strategic knowledge, but also on the other side is to understand the technology and how it works at a high level, right? Unless you're going to be a subject matter expert, pen tester, anything along that line, or you're going to technically support that technology, it's very hard to keep up with those technologies. And I'll use unified threat management tools, endpoint protection, SIMs, whatever that may be, is just because there's so many coming out. It's always evolving, new technologies, new things are coming out. CW is a company that we're Usato, Terra Nova, and CW are collaborating. And what happened is CW is coming out with has come out with a new encryption, which is phenomenal. But again, it's learning that encryption, learning what they're doing, learning how it implements, learning how it works, right? And having those conversations. Again, you're always learning, you're always evolving. So something to think about if you're ever thinking about going into cybersecurity, if you're a newcomer and you're jumping into the industry, it is an amazing industry. It is amazingly hard industry as well. And hard in the sense of you have to want to learn, right? You have to be uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I talked about this morning with a group of people, right? You have to be always, transitioning, always changing, always learning, always evolving. I know for me right now, I'm going through kind of a Top Gun sales training, one-on-one with an expert in sales. And we're going through strategies, scripting and things along that line. And that's another area where I had to be uncomfortable or being comfortable being uncomfortable with them to figure this out and to understand it, to listen, to apply, and to now, reading a script and going through that as you're going through connecting and doing calls with people, seeing how that works and how it plays out, because a lot of times this stuff has to be roadmapped or playbooked in the sense of you have to have a strategy that can be used from anyone in the organization, the team, that they can pick it up and do it versus it's unique to you and you're the only one that's able to do that. You want to be able to have it in a solutions type strategy that if I pick it up or Fred picks up, if Bob picks it up, they can pick it up and go, got it. I know what to do and I can do that. So it's really interesting and watching how this, plays out. I think the challenge for me is that learning from, Tony Robbins, Chris Voss, and then listen to the Sandler techniques and doing all that and bringing that all together to make it work for my temperament, my personality, and just getting uncomfortable doing that can be challenging. And as anyone knows, this is in sales or anything along that line, you kind of go the balance. And I'll be honest with you, here's the kind of the challenge that I run into personally is that I like to be more of a consultative person. How I can help, how can I work with someone, how can I provide value, what can I learn from you, how can we collaborate, versus where the old sales, and I don't see this much, but there's some kind of old guys out there where it's like the hardcore sell, right? You need this. I'm going to sell you a vacuum. You need this. Let me throw some dirt on the carpet. Let me do that. And with cybersecurity, it's, there's a hacker in Russia with a hood, in a dark room, and he's going to get you. He's going to hack you. He's going to hack your company. He's going to take millions of dollars. Your company's going to be ransomware. You need our service. You need this right now. And I get that mentality. I don't subscribe to it myself. I'm more of, I understand there's a person on the other side who's very intelligent, knows their business, looking for, technology, might have done a lot of research, especially in this day and age of, the Gartner report, YouTube, vendors and manufacturers having tons of information where they are coming and going, I need someone I can trust. I need someone that can help me, understand this technology and how it's going to work for me. I don't have time to look at this. I really don't. I need someone to advise me that I can trust and then go through this and then guide me through how that from start to finish works, from, understanding the technology and the integration and how it's going to work, to looking at procurement, to deployment and integration, to managing support after. How does that all work? Walk me through that process, because I need someone to guide me, because I've got 30 projects deep. I don't have time to really think about this and go through that. So that's where I love to be. That's where I love to be, as that one that the people call me, go, Brandon, I need your help. I need you to understanding, and I need you to walk me through this. And I think that for me is where my sweet spot is, because that's why I want to get the CSP. That's why I want to, get that consultative, more expertise, is because I think that provides more value to the people that I'm talking to versus, hey, my name's Brandon. I have X. You need this right now. You need to buy it now. And yeah, every company needs that. And they're like, yeah, so what? So the company I work for is amazing. And amazing in the sense of they have the same philosophy and belief, is that we're there to help right across the board. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. We're there to help, provide guidance, provide support, walk you through our, the process that you need to understand for yourself, for your business, and how that, the services, the solutions work, and then guide you through that process. So I'm really loving, working through Usado and doing that. And it's helping me understand the industry more. And this is a good thing, is when you get hooked up to a good company, you really understand the industry more. You understand the people that you're working with. You understand the partners and clients that you're working with. And you really get to build up those strong relationships, because cybersecurity is a big industry, a small community. So a lot of people start to know who you are and start to connect with you. And if you're that guy that provides value and helps them, in my opinion, I think that now shares throughout the community, through the network, that you're a trusted person that people want to connect with. So that's kind of what I've been working on. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I want to share. Oh, in January, I'll post in the description below. In the meetup group, there's actually going to be another event. We're going to be talking about CMMC. James and myself, we have another colleague that's coming out that's going to be talking about CMMC, which is the new compliance for vendors that want to work with the Department of Defense and the military. So something you probably want to keep an eye on right now, especially if you're in that industry, in that space. A lot going there. We're going to have an expert out to talk about that. Just trying to think if there's anything else. That's the thing for me. That's it. I'm working on encryption with CAW, CISSP, consulting. And I think that's it. Yeah, and I'd love to hear kind of, like I said, what you're working on. Chat you'll see the chat boxes on YouTube or on Facebook. I'm just here looking at LinkedIn. Any of them. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything that I can help you with. So let's get into the news. I really want to talk about what's going on in the news and give you guys some updates. So I don't know if you guys have been seeing this, and I'm going to bring it over here. Give me a second here. I'm just going to bring this up here. But there's a lot going on in the news. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been seeing kind of FireEye and things that are happening there. Yeah, right now this is kind of, OBS is giving me a little bit of problems here. So I'm going to bring this up here, and you're going to see that, FireEye was compromised. And I'm just going to bring up the news here. Best one to start with is a CyberWire daily briefing for 12/14/20. This was a really good article. I'm going to have the links to it below. We'll be briefed on the prediction today, since the supply chain attack Cozy Bear executed through SolarWinds ARN platform rightly dominated today's news. So when you read this article, what they're going to be going through is what happened. They're going to talk about the APT-29 group and a known unit of the Russian SVR Foreign Intelligence Service appeared to have been behind not only the FireEye breach, but attacks on the U.S. Department of Commerce and the Treasury as well. The Wall Street Journal reports Cozy Bear earned a reputation during an operation against U.S. campaigns in 2015-2016 for being quieter and less obtrusive than its GRU cousin Fancy Bear. The Washington Post, Ellen Nakasima, broke the story over Twitter late yesterday afternoon, and followed up with the article that said that the organization were successfully breached through their network and management system of very widely used SolarWinds product. If indeed that proves to be the case, the problem is likely to become very widespread. SolarWinds customers include large corporations, government agencies, and military services. But even if so, as Malware Lake tweets, it needs not involve a vulnerability, the SolarWinds itself. And then it goes through and it talks about a little bit more. So something to look at for this article, and looking at how this is kind of playing out, you're really looking at how companies right now are, even at the high level of cybersecurity, FireEye, are vulnerable to compromises. And they're doing their best right now. And I talked about this earlier. They're doing their best. They're doing their due diligence to make sure that they're secure and responding as quickly as possible. Now, another article, I'm just going to bring this up here. Give me a second here. And it says the ABT group aren't all from Russia, China, and North Korea. This was from Zednet. It was written by Kalen Capini for 0 days. Hackers believed to be operating on behalf of foreign governments have breached software providers SolarWinds and then deployed a malware-laced update for its Orion software to infect the networks of multiple U.S. companies and government networks. U.S. security firm FireEye said today. FireEye reports comes after Reuters and the Washington Post and Wall Street Journal reported on Sunday intrusions at the U.S. Treasury Department of the U.S. Department of Commerce, National Telecommunication and Information Administration, NTIA. So the SolarWinds supply chain attack is also how hackers gain access to FireEye's own network, which the company disclosed earlier this week. The Washington Post cited sources claiming that the multiple other government agencies were also impacted. So, and then it goes through the article and you kind of read there, and I'm going to have the post there. But what you're going to see here is they're going to talk about what happened and how it's been compromised all through. And I think it's really important to really understand that when you're collaborating with different companies, that there's a lot of different access points that people can compromise, right? When you're looking at FireEye, you're looking at the SolarWinds application, you're looking at their software updates. And I knew this when I was developing websites, when I had a marketing company. If you ever had third-party plugins or things along that line, you always had to be careful because those plugins could be developed by a third-party consultant or contractor that's developing for that company. They might not have direct access or pen testing in place to evaluate the code and evaluate what's going on. So as you're going through the chain of company to consultant to software, there can be areas where now things are dropped off when it comes to security, because when we go back to CIA, confidentiality, data integrity, and availability, the availability of the application is very important for most companies. They want to make sure it's accessible, it works well, there's no downtime, that clients can use it, and they have a good dashboard that it does all the features and functions that people are looking for. And then the integrity, bigger companies try to do their best to do the integrity of the evaluating the code, evaluating the application. But sometimes because it's third party, right, and then there's a layer deep or even a fourth layer deep, some of that is not reviewed, right? And reviewed, and let me clarify, some is not reviewed as detailed as it should be, right? Because it's time consuming. It costs money. It costs resources to be able to do that. So what happens is as they're not doing that, there could be gaps, and they think, okay, well, that guy, we've always had him as a consultant and he's wrote code for us before, then yeah, it should be fine. And then what happens is they're trying to rush to get deadlines, launch times, marketing, finance is all on top of them, kind of saying, let's do this. We need to get it out by a certain date, and they're pushing the product, they're pushing the software, they're pushing the update. And so they push it out. And then what happens is potentially there's vulnerabilities, there's things that could happen, right? And things that be compromised. And as they go through that and then they launch it, and then things like this happen. So it's a very delicate industry, very challenging, right, to say the least. And I think it's important right now for companies to do their due diligence, right, to evaluate their systems, evaluate things. Because now, and this is just my opinion, you look at FireEye and how many clients they had that now were compromised because of this, that they potentially might have solutions with. Now are questioning, should they be working with FireEye? Should we work with another partner, another vendor? Because you left us open for a breach. You left us open for a compromise. Is it FireEye direct? Was it them specifically? I mean, this is what the articles are saying. It's, SolarWinds and the updates and the patches and all that. But again, the responsibility lies back on the people that you're working with, right? The vendors and partners that you work with, because you trust them that while I work with you, you are doing your due diligence doing that. And I think that's where it's so hard when it comes to technology, right across the board, IT, cybersecurity, is things are always evolving, that it's this constant catch-up game. Technology evolves. We have to make sure it meets certain criteria, and we're evaluating and we're testing it and we're making sure it's secure. And then there's another update, and then we keep going through this process. We keep going through this. So I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's really hard for companies like FireEye and SolarWinds and all that to maintain that and stay profitable, because they don't want to hold up their profitability in their revenue models, because they're trying to make the perfect software. And they make the perfect software, the perfect patch, and then something changes. Hardware changes, software changes, and they have to do it again. They have to make their updates, and they keep doing it. And so, as we know, potentially they'll never get out the perfect software, because there's so many variables to maintain and manage to make sure that that's happening. So a lot going on there with the news and kind of FireEye, and I wanted to cover that a little bit. I'd love to hear kind of what you think about that and what you think about the FireEye breach and what was it, the Cozy Bear. And I'm going to read over a little bit of the Cozy Bear here. Give me a second here. I'll bring that up. So I was just briefly reading over it, just to learn a little bit more about it. And the resource to Wikipedia, which I'll have in the show notes and the description below. Cozy Bear, classified as an advanced persistent threat, ABT-29, is a Russian hacker group believed to be associated with one or more intelligence agencies of Russia. The Dutch General Intelligence and Security Services deducted from security camera footage that it is led by the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR. Cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike also previously suggested that it may be associated with either the Russian Federal Security Services, FSB, or SVR. The group was given other nicknames by other cybersecurity firms, including Office Monkey, Cozy Bear, the Dukes, and the Cozy Dukes. And then the methodology, Persky's lab determined that the earliest sample of the Mini Duke malware attribute to the group dates from 2008. The original code was written in assembly language. Symantec believes the Cozy Bear has been compromised diplomatic organization and government since at least 2010. The Cozy Duke malware the Cozy Bear malware utilizes a backdoor and a drooper. Give me a second, and a dropper. The malware can't say this, is a tongue twister. The malware exfiltrates data to the command and the control server. Attackers may tailor the malware to the environment. The backdoor components of Cozy Bear malware are up to date, or updated over the time with modifications to cryptography, Trojan functionality, and anti-detection. The speed at which Cozy Bear develops and deploys in its components is remnants of the tool set of Fancy Bear, which also uses the tools, chopsticks, and core shells. So take a look at that. I'm going to post that in the show notes as well. It's really interesting to kind of see the methodology and the I guess that really the methodology and the techniques, and it talks about this, the technical capabilities that people go through to do these compromises. And they're building on and building on and building on, right? It's not just they write one and they've gone. They're building on the previous ones to make it better, make it faster. So it's always hard when you look at the other side of the coin is the guys on the blue team that are protecting the companies. They're working even harder because and here's something that I've always found kind of fascinating. Hackers, guys that are doing malicious, compromises, things along that line, don't have any rules and regulations. They're basically free to do whatever they want, when they want, and how they want. On the other side, the blue team, they have rules and regulations, and they have change management and things that they have to abide by. And it's almost like them protecting companies with one hand tied behind their back. And it makes it harder, and this is just my opinion, for the blue team to be able to do their due diligence and their work, because they're always, fighting against, different, change management, different policies, different compliance that they have to manage while they're trying to protect organizations, they're trying to protect companies, governments, and things along that line. So it's a really interesting industry to be in, to really kind of look at that and see the challenge of that. So that's just a brief update of what's going on in the news. Just want to give you that update and just see what you guys think about that. I know there's a lot going on when it comes to FireEye and the different types of compromises, but it's just, interesting to look at how different companies are looking at, taking advantage, or how different hackers are looking at taking advantage of different areas of technology, different, applications, different hardware, different, people. They're looking at how they can compromise. And you look at the pandemic, you look at, people, the increase of ransomware and malware and phishing attacks on individuals increased like drastically, because they knew that the systems weren't there to protect them. They knew that the monitoring tools, the security tools that we use to protect, endpoints from malware. I'm just trying to think of different things like endpoints and, firewalls and all that were all circumvented because now people were at home. Right? They're at home and they're on their home networks and doing that. So now they're got direct access to these people and they're going straight at them, right? Hopefully to compromise them and get either some malware under their system so they can get direct access to the computer, or ransomware, anything along that line. So it's pretty crazy, like all the things that have been going on, and how this pandemic has really shine a light on the different challenges that we've had in the industry and things that were going on with, different types of programs, roadmaps, companies that were looking at going to the cloud and had to do it overnight. Like a lot of this stuff happened just so quickly. And I think it's so important for us to understand that this is where we need to work as a team, a collaborative team, to help each other, right? We're not on an island on our own. We're really kind of looking at, different types of solution providers, risk management, vendors, you name it, all looking out to protect each other and really help each other stay safe with the cybersecurity. So I'm going to end there because I covered a lot of information. Again, if there's anything that you guys need, you guys want to chat, anything you guys need help with, let me know. There's just so much going on in the industry right now, especially around the holidays. First and foremost, take care of yourself, take care of your family. And then look at all the other things that you're doing and you're working on. It's just so important to do that first and just make sure you're healthy and you're safe, and keep growing, keep learning about cybersecurity, keep, protecting yourself and your business and the people around you. So I want to leave off there. Don't forget, software's hackable, being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you next Daily Cyber.